screaming louder, and they couldn't just let them out of rest. And now my child has the bad luck to run afoul of those tenants at precisely the wrong time. You expect me, his own mother, to help his executioners finish their work? God forbid.
For 14 years I've observed your imaginative educational methods and said nothing. They were at odds with my own. It's always been my conviction that a child is not a plaything, that is entitled to our utmost seriousness. But I thought if one person's charm and intellect could replace another's earnest principles, then maybe they'd be preferable to the earnest principles. I'm not trying to reproach you, Fanny, but do not stand in my way when I try to atone for the wrongdoing we've done the boy.
Stand in your way so long as there's a drop of warm blood in me. The child will be lost in the reformatory. Maybe a criminal mind can be improved in an institution like that. But a good-natured person will turn into a criminal there. Early as a plant will die if you deprive it of air and sunlight. It's done that's so terrible. It would not occur to me excuses for him, but it's not his fault he was kicked out of school, and if it were his fault, he certainly paid for it. You may understand all this better. You may theoretically be completely in the right, but I cannot allow my only child to be stripped from me and hounded to his death.
It's out of our hands, Fanny. That's the risk we accepted along with our happiness. Those too weak to march must fall by the wayside, and ultimately, it isn't the worst thing that could happen if it occurs ahead of time. God spare us that. Our duty is to steady the weak of will to the best of our knowledge and abilities. It wasn't his fault he was expelled from school, nor would it have been his fault if he wasn't expelled from school. You're too optimistic. You see this cocky little prank when what we're dealing with is a deeply flawed personality. A person that can write the sort of things Melchior wrote must be tainted to the very core of his being. The marrow is affected. None of us is the same. Every one of us veers from the straight and narrow. But what he did shows an intention, a proclivity, a penchant for immorality for the sake of immorality. What he did documents with clarifying detail, thus lawyers call moral insanity. Whether anything can be done about his condition, I'm not in the place to say. But if we're to preserve one glimmer of hope, and most importantly, our otherwise spotless conscience as parents of the individuals, we are to go to work with firmness in all seriousness. I know how much you adore the boy. I know how much you love him because he so naturally mirrors your natural virtuosity. Now's the time, Fanny. Now's the time to be selfless towards your son.
God, there's no arguing with an attitude like this. Only a man can talk this way. Only a man can allow himself to be so blinded by the dead letter. Only a man can so blindly ignore what's staring him in the face. I treated Melchior responsibly and beautifully since the very first day that I saw he was sensitive to impressions from his environment. Be responsible for accidents. Could get hit in the head with a falling brick tomorrow morning. And your best friend comes along. Your father comes along, and instead of taking care of your injuries, he steps on you. Expect me to stand by and watch while my son gets slaughtered. It's absurd. It's unbelievable. What in the world did he write anyway? You couldn't ask for more convincing proof of his harmlessness, of his stupidity, of his childish innocence than the fact that he could write a thing like that. You have to have no conception of human nature. You have to be a totally soulless bureaucrat or hopelessly narrow-minded to see a sign of moral corruption in this. Say whatever you want. You send Melchior to your laboratory. I'm divorcing you. I'm going to see if I can't somewhere in the world find the resources to save my child.
You're going to have to reconcile yourself to it. Not today, then tomorrow. It's not easy for anybody to come to terms with misfortune. stand by your side. When your courage threatens to waver, I will spare no pains and no sacrifice to light your heart. The future looks so gray, so clouded. All I would need now is to lose you.
I won't see him again. I won't see him again. I can't stand vulgarity. I will never adjust to the filth. He's haunted. The most ghastly example. If I do see him again, that spring-like joy in his step, that sunny laughter of his, everything. Your roots planted, nurtured into his soul is my highest good. Take me if the injustice cries out for retribution. Take me, do whatever you want with me. I'm the one to blame, but keep your frightful hands off my child.
He has committed an offense.
He has not committed
He has
an offense!
committed an offense! I would have done anything to spare you this in your boundless love. This morning a woman came to me with this letter to her 15-year-old child. In the letter, Melchior writes, this 15-year-old girl, and tells her what he did is leaving him no peace, that he has sinned against her, etc., but will, of course, take full responsibility for everything. She shouldn't fret, even if consequences are evident. Another absurd twaddle of the same sort.
Impossible.
Okay. Stop.
No, never. Never.
The woman wrung her hands. She asked me what she should do. I told her she shouldn't let a 15-year-old child climb around in haylofts. Luckily, she left the letter here with me. Fanny, if we send Melchior to another school in 3 weeks, we'll be faced with the identical situation. Another expulsion. Tell me, Fanny, what am I supposed to do?
The reformatory. The reformatory.
There, you learn what was wrongfully withheld from him. Iron discipline, earnest principles, and moral constraint to which he must accept without thought. Beyond that, the reformatory isn't the chamber of horrors you believe it to be. Stress a Christian way of feeling and being. There, a boy learns not to want what is fun or entertaining, but what is good. He learns there not to want what his personality feels, but the law. Half an hour ago, I received a telegram from my brother. Confirms her statements. Melchior confided in him and asked him for $300 to run away to England.